Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. Tonight, another edition, Nothing But Net. The host, the two hosts, Midnight Riders, myself, that is C. Perry the second, and we're gonna get you into the hoops world from last night and then through some stories through the day. Perry, take it away.
Yeah, look, now remember, you can catch Nothing But Net Wednesdays, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook Live and YouTube. We got an audio version of Nothing But Net, which drops every Thursday. Okay. And you can hear it on all your favorite podcasting platforms. And that's iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, plus more. And also Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. Make sure you are following all of our social media platforms. Take it away, MR.
All right, with that being said, we're gonna run you through the slate from last night. We're gonna give you the scores and the top scores for each team, and then a quick commentary, and we're gonna keep it moving. Here we go. First game up, Wizards 102, Sixers 121. Leading scores, Tristan Vujicic with 16 points for the Wiz. Tyrese Maxey with 35 for the Sixers. Talk to me.
Yo, Tyrese Maxey once again staying consistent with the scoring as the leading scorer now of the Philadelphia 76ers. It was good to actually see Paul George back. I saw he had 11 points. This team is not healthy yet, but I'm sure once they get healthy, they might make a little bit of noise. Washington Wizards, they took out the Bucks. Came down a little bit, like I've been saying, and like we've been saying, Wizards fans, don't jump off any ledges. Okay, this is where this team is supposed to be, and just watch them grow. Trust me on that.
And real quick to follow up, I think our guy VJ Edgecombe is a little bit of a victim of Paul George being back because he's trying to find his way a little bit. And on the Wizards side, I mean, they have so many different lineups right now. As long as CJ McCollum gives them something, they're good to go. And with that being said, let's go ahead and hit off into the next game. Portland Trailblazers 118, Toronto Raptors 121. Leading the Blazers, Denny Avdia 25 points. On the Toronto side, Scotty Barnes with 28. Talk to me.
Bounce back win for the Raptors after their winning streak was ended this past Sunday by the New York Knicks. Look, Toronto's going to be consistent. I'm keeping my eye on this young team because right now they got a great plan at Scotty Barnes, but also at the same time you now have a closer in Brandon Ingram. So this team is going to continue. I'm expecting this team to continue to grow and get better. They were one of my picks to make the play-in. The way they're playing right now, if they can stay consistent with it, they might finish in the top 6.
Yeah, one thing I have is Wizards fans. Just remember the timeline. Denny Avdia didn't fit. This is not somebody that you had that went somewhere and got better. Exactly. With that being said, next ball game up on the slate, we got the New York Knicks 117, the Boston Celtics 123. Last night, leading scorer for the Knicks, Mikal Bridges, 35 points. For the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, 42 points. And allegedly, no smudges were left on any jerseys. Go.
Look, this was the NBC Coast to Coast game of the night. Woo! Jaylen Brown took over in the second quarter. He had 15 points in the second quarter and stayed consistent the rest of the way. This is what happens when you are the number one option and you put your team on the back, which is pretty much what he did. The Knicks broke their four game winning streak. The captain, Jalen Brunson, had an off game. He was 6 for 19 shooting. The Mikal Bridges, scored over 30 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 29 points, but it just wasn't enough. Sometimes those nights happen. The Celtics, once again, they might be down their main gun, but they still got their other main gun. They're still they're still going to be, like I said, they're going to be contending. Another one that's going to be contending for a playoff spot.
All I got to say is the Celtics keep finding dudes that can shoot the basketball. There was a couple of jokers last night that I hadn't seen or heard of came out and they put up some threes in the third quarter. I think that helped them take the lead or keep the lead in that stretch. But next up on the agenda, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves 149. The New Orleans Pelicans 142. And Edwards with 44 points. And for the Pelicans, Trey Murphy the third with 33 points. Take it away.
This is what the Wolves should be doing to a team like the Pelicans. Right now, Zion Williamson is out for the next 3 weeks. They're working with the interim head coach who will hopefully be the permanent head coach, and James Borrega. Big fan of James Borrega. But this team is unfortunately not there. The Wolves did what they had to do, of course, to win.
All I gotta say is I'm shocked that Williamson is hurt again. I would have never thought he got hurt. He never gets hurt. With that being said, next ball game up, Grizzlies 119, Spurs 126. Leading scorer for the Spurs was Harrison Barnes with 31. I just got a last name here of Spencer. I forgot his first name, with 21 points for the Grizzlies. What you got on this?
The Spurs are doing a great job maintaining without Wemby. Okay, I mean right now they have a good balance of veterans and young players. And right now they're rolling at 14-6. Memphis, once again, with Memphis, the clock is on. The clock is on who's gonna be there and who not gonna be there. So it is what it is.
All I'm waiting for is the Shams report to say that Ja's been traded. That's all I got with them. And I agree with what you said. The Spurs are just holding water, holding steady, holding the ship steady until it's time. Last game of the slate. I think this was the West Coast game.
This was the West Coast NBA coast to coast game of the night.
That's why I keep you around, man, because you always keep my toes with this. OKC Thunder 124, Golden State Warriors 112. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 38. This is a great name. I'm gonna go by the last name. Podziemic with 17 for the Warriors. He was their leading scorer. Any thoughts? Any ideas? Talk to me.
21-1. That's the only main thought here. The Thunders are off to a great start. Right now, they're off to a start that puts them in puts them in the range of the 2015 Warriors and the 69-70 New York Knicks team. Okay, right now 21-1. They're off to a legendary pace here. Right, the West is tight until you really get to the top, and right now it's still early on. It's looking like last year. With them, with the West being tight from two on, but with the Thunder running away at the top. I mean, it's hard for me not to see that happening again in the regular season. That is.
No, I totally agree. I think this is a situation where it's going to be one of those things where this is the inevitable. Yep. They're Thanos with the Infinity Stones. They're inevitable. That's the only way I can see it, and the only way I can take it on that. What else you got, my man?
Nah, that's it on the scores, man. Especially when we got news to talk about outside of last night's games. First being which Shams Charania, dropped this afternoon that Giannis MVP, former two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo and his agent are having conversations with the Milwaukee Bucks regarding his future in Milwaukee. Now, the Bucks on a 5-game losing streak. They actually lost to the Washington Wizards a couple of nights back. The following day, Giannis, and I try not to read anything into this, but I should have known something was going to follow right behind it. But Giannis stopped following Buck stuff on his social media. I try not to put much into that. However, yeah, Shams reports that that they're that him and his agent are talking about their future, his future with the Bucks coming into this season. Shams reported over the summer that the Milwaukee Bucks reached out to my New York Knicks regarding a trade, regarding trading or putting together a package to get Giannis to New York, as New York is supposedly his choice destination. They had a week window, nothing happened, or no deal was made, and now going into the season, Giannis, the talk was that Giannis was going to stay for the full season and then see where it goes from there. Right now, the Bucks are 9-13. If the play-in started today, the Bucks would not be in the play-in.
All right.
So, according to further reports, they're hoping to get this wrapped up, situated, and in a direction within the next couple of weeks. Ryder, what do you think? I mean, what do you think? Let's just say this. How do you think this is going to end up for the rest of the season? Now, remember, December 15th is the day that that the majority of deals that were signed over the offseason are now tradable assets. So what are your thoughts?
I think Giannis is gone. I think he's finally got to a point where he sees the writing on the wall. He's done everything he could. That window is closed. They took them long extended nails and hammered them into that window. They took some sheetrock and put it in front of it. I mean, they closed that playoff and championship window is done. He took his chance with trying to get Lillard, but it's not going to work. It's not. It's they tried everything, but they tried it from a point of deficit because Chris Middleton wasn't the best second, but you won it, and then once you won one, you just can't get back. And now I think it's time for him to move on.
Yeah, and the sad part about it is they really, at this point right now, don't have any assets to go out there and bring in reinforcements. They've already gone down this road. Okay, they've already gone down this road. They've already used the assets to bring in reinforcements that didn't work, or weren't good fits. So yeah, but I'll say this: the difference now is the rest of the league now has that opportunity to make offers to the Bucks. But trust and believe, Giannis is the one that's going to be driving where he's going. He's not, let's just say this is not going to be anything willy-nilly. And I'm saying this before any Miami Heat fans jump in and say that they can get him. This is still all going to be, this still or that they have a good package to get him. Trust me, they'll jump in it. They'll definitely jump in it.
Yeah, they'll jump in it, but I think the problem is they're gonna jump in and they're gonna be in the kiddie pool, and then other teams with better resources are going to be in the deep end.
Yeah,
every time I look at their roster, I feel like they win with smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I mean, and being the resident Knicks fan, even my team does not have the assets to make it work, bring him back, bring him here, and give give him and what's left of the team that full range of achieving their goal and reaching their potential. Okay, this isn't this isn't a side deal like the Luka trade. Okay, I mean technically, Dallas did get some good pieces back.
You can't drop that. You said side deal. My thought process on the Luka deal, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
That was an owner calling the owner. That wasn't a GM calling a GM.
Exactly. That's the reason why. That's one of the reasons why I called it a side deal. It was different. I had one person hit me up earlier, was trying to make a comparison with Kawhi going, the Kawhi trade that sent him to Toronto. Hey, San Antonio, at the same time, San Antonio got an all-star back plus, plus some pieces. Okay. I'm sorry. Giannis is going to take a bigger haul. My New York Knicks can't, I'm sorry. A third team would have to be involved. And to be quite honest with you, as a Knicks fan, I don't want this team touched. Let this team cook. There was a reason why this team was put together. Would Giannis look nice in the Knicks jersey? Yes, Giannis would look nice in the Knicks jersey. Okay. However, we got to get off that sucker ass Smith mentality to want to bring stars into a spot, drain what you got, and then worry about what's around them later. This is not 2010, and this is not the Miami Heat. This is not 2014. This is not 2015. Those days under this cap structure is not it. Okay. Yeah, I did call him sucker ass Smith. Shout out to the host of the Why I Hate podcast, of the Why I Hate Politics podcast for me borrowing sucker ass Smith, and that's what he will be referred to as long as I am podcasting.
All right, real quick, talking about delusional. Sideline Junkies podcast. Chicago will get him.
Stop. Yeah, exactly. Stop. Okay?
Not gonna happen.
And the funny part about it is, believe it or not, a team like Chicago has the prerequisite pieces to get him. They have players and draft picks. Because here's the whole thing: if you're going to trade Giannis, you need to be trading Giannis to break down what you have now and start building for the future. That's something that can be done between Milwaukee and Chicago. If Milwaukee and Chicago can ever work out a deal with each other. But even better, and I've been saying this for a minute, since the whole league now will get an opportunity, keep your eye on San Antonio. Keep your eye on teams like San Antonio and Detroit, which have the real young assets to get them.
I apologize for shaking my head, but I think Detroit's got something building and brewing.
I agree.
And this is one of those things you don't touch. Like, how it is when you was little and the greens was on the stove and they was cooking, and you might have took the top off and looked in and they ain't look right. But you forget those greens got to cook another 2-3 hours before they get to where they got to get to. And that's what I see with Detroit. I see a thing that's a pot of gumbo that's starting to mix, but it ain't quite there yet. Go ahead.
Why do you think I don't want him in New York? This is the reason why. The league isn't about following the LBJ model, get stars together. This is not what the league is about. The league is about building. If you're going to trade and you're going to get free agents, trade and get the free agents that fit what you are trying to do. Don't just get big names and throw them out there. It ain't that type of league anymore, son. It is not.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. What you got next for me?
Oh man, this one came in the dead of the night, actually, where we found out when Chris Paul went on his social media and stated that he was sent home from the Clippers. So it does look like the Clippers and Chris Paul are going to be parting ways from what Shams has reported. There's been a lot of clashes between Chris Paul head coach Tyronn Lue, other players, and management as it relates to play and accountability, especially the last part, accountability. I mean, it was to the point where it was reported that CP3 and Tyronn Lue haven't spoken in weeks. So,
Can I say something real quick?
yeah, go ahead. I was about to ask you for your thoughts, bro.
This sounds like a situation where a guy past his prime is still trying to hold on to his prime dreams, and he just don't have it no more. And I don't think he can take that statement. And then the other part, I think the problem is there's a guy that every time I hear his name mentioned, don't nobody say nothing good about him, and that's Lawrence Frank. And he's the true definition of failing up.
Yep.
Failed as a coach, but now somehow he's a GM. He wasn't a GM in Boston. He wasn't a GM anywhere else, but somehow he gets that title. And I don't see the background that earned him the position to get there. So, and I think go ahead.
Now I will say this though, okay. CP3 is a Hall of Famer, okay, and skill level eroding or not, he's earned that right to talk accountability everywhere he's been, and that's including last year in San Antonio. Everywhere he's been, that team improved. Okay, remember when he got traded from Houston to OKC?
Mm-hmm.
OKC improved. He's the one. If any one veteran player set OKC on the road and the path to where they are now, it's Chris Paul. All right, he earned that right. He earned that right to hold coaches accountable. He earned that right to hold players, accountable. And I mean, based off the Clippers record, somebody needs to be held accountable.
Yeah, the problem is you made a bad deal for Brad, and you got rid of Norman Powell, who's probably your better scorer of the group. So I think that's how that falls out. What else you got for me?
Oh, and we got the news today that of the passing of Clemson basketball legend, NBA, and NBA pro Eldon Campbell.
57, man.
Yeah. He was the greatest player in Clemson basketball history. If any player put Clemson on the map basketball wise, it was him. He had a solid NBA career, playing for the Lakers and playing for the Pistons. And to me, I'll say this, to me, a deserving college basketball player, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, KG is going to have his jokes because I always talk about the move for him and Eldon and Eddie Jones leaving LA was addition by subtraction. But I always have respect for the guy. I mean, I tell people all the time, we have our fan memories, and then sometimes you have to give people their respect. Yeah. And I respect Eldon Campbell as a 7-footer. I just had my moments with him, and whenever we played Utah, and that was it. That was it. But I thought he was a good ball player. I thought he was excellent at Clemson. He gave North Carolina troubles the whole time we played against him during his career. So the scary thing is these numbers just starting to drop too much for me. Like we're getting too close to the low to mid 50s. I mean the high to mid 50s. And we're losing a lot of guys in this stretch. Go ahead.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago we lost Rodney Rogers.
Yeah.
So, then guys like Rodney Rogers and Eldon Campbell, those were my college years. So trust me, you know, it hits hard, and you know, and it hits different. But you know, as always, you know, gonna respect the memories, though. You know,
For sure, man. Ladies and gentlemen, on that somber note, we have to end this episode of Nothing But Net. But there's one thing we can't let you leave here without hearing. Perry, where can they find us?
yo, make sure you catch Nothing But Net Wednesdays, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook Live and on YouTube. We have the audio version of Nothing But Net is available the next day on your favorite podcasting platforms such as iHeartRadio, such as Spotify, such as Amazon Music, plus more. And make sure you support the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network by following us on our social media platforms, Sideline Junkies, y'all.
And with that being said, this show ends in a couple minutes, and at 8 p.m., we get the Gentleman Jack in the passenger seat. Tonight's guest is Baltimore Nighthawks, Jen Whitfield. And if you know who this young lady is, she's a professional women's football player in the different football leagues on that side of the ledger. It's going to be a great interview. Jack's going to take you through the sports world, one interview at a time. And with that being said, I'm the Midnight Rider. This is C. Perry II. We are doing Nothing But Net. We catch you next week. Have a good evening. Have a great day.
Swish, y'all. Swish.